I'm Mitch Garvis with SWMI Consulting Group, and today I'm going to show you how to create a multi-OS deployment point using Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010 Update 1. As you see, I've already imported several operating systems into my deployment point: Windows 7 Enterprise, 32-bit and 64-bit, Professional, and Server. I have an application, but that's not going to be important for the time being. We're going to create a task sequence for each one of the operating systems that I want to deploy. We're going to start with a 32-bit operating system just to show you the different levels of menus that are created. Make sure that the operating system name is a comfortable one because it may not be you doing the deployment in the end. Put in your organization name and your Internet Explorer homepage. Make sure to assign a good, solid administrative password, and you've created your task sequence. Now we're going to repeat the same process for all of our operating systems. We're going to go through 5 of them. Remember that although I'm creating for Windows 7 and Windows Server, this will also work for Windows XP, Windows Vista, Server 2008, Server 2003. In fact, the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit will allow you to deploy every operating system that Microsoft currently supports. The reason we're doing a 32-bit operating system in addition to all of our 64-bit operating systems is to show you that when we boot into the Windows PE for the first time, the Windows PE, of course, being the engine that is going to run our deployment, it gives us the option of booting into a 32-bit operating system or a 64-bit operating system, and we have to select the right architecture in order to deploy that operating system. Remember that when you create task sequences for a server operating system, there's a slight difference. Rather than selecting the standard client operating system deployment, you're going to select the standard server task sequence. MDT can not only be used to deploy Windows Client and Windows Server, it can also be used to deploy Server Core, as we'll see here. It can also deploy Hyper-V Server if you are going to be using that in your environment. More on that later. Now that we've created all of our task sequences, we're going to update our deployment share. This, the first time you run it, will take a very long time. In this case, it actually took over half an hour. I'm not going to make you sit through that much video, so I've taken the liberty of fast forwarding through it so that we can be done now. At this point, I'm going to go into my advanced configuration and create a new media deployment point. Just going to delete the remnants of an old one that were there. We're now going to create a new media path on my C drive. Create a new folder called Deployment Media. This won't take too long. But make sure you have enough space on your hard drive before you set out to do this. Now we're going to look at the properties. Make sure that we're creating a 32-bit image, a 64-bit image, as well as, for the purpose of my demo today, a light touch ISO. Because of that, it's going to take up twice the space on my drive. I'm going to update my media content, which again, I'm not going to make you sit through, but this will take about half an hour as well. Now that we're done doing that, we'll see on the hard drive that we have a new folder under our deployment media called Content, as well as the ISO file. I've taken this ISO file and copied it into my parent partition, but imagine that I burnt it to a USB key. We're now, as you see, we're given the option of booting from a 32-bit media or a 64-bit media. Because we have more selections under 64, I'm going to select that one for now. Our Windows PE is going to boot up into our familiar Microsoft Deployment Toolkit Windows PE. This, as you can see, is happening in real time. We haven't sped this up at all, so if you see a little bit of delay, that's what's going on. Our Solutions Accelerator's splash screen comes up. And here we have the Welcome Windows Deployment script. We're going to click Run the Deployment Wizard to install a new operating system, at which point we're going to get the menu of which operating systems we have the opportunity to install, the 4 64-bit operating systems that we selected in the MDT. So that's the end of our demo, creating a multi-OS deployment point using Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010. I'm Mitch Garvis, and thanks for watching.